Welcome back to Talk Show, the show where we connect the dots so you don't have to. This week, the dots have been shot, surveilled, starved, censored, bribed, and then blamed on the immigrants. Welcome back to another episode. This week, we've learned America is considering buying Greenland like it's a timeshare. Iran shut off the internet like it's 2006. ICE killed a woman in Minneapolis, Renee Good, remember her name. And somehow, food assistance is now a weapon of political punishment. Outstanding. So if you thought 2026 was going to be any calmer, no, absolutely not. The distraction onslaught is in full force, flooding the zone with bullshit to distract you and me from the Epstein files, which you'll probably notice have slipped out of the news cycle. Anyway, we're distracting from the blatant robbery of the American people, and that's just how things are today. Let's get into it. In our first segment, let's talk a little bit about the ICE shooting sparking nationwide protests. So I covered this a little bit in my episode this week so far. Renee Nicole Good was shot, 37-year-old woman, during an ICE operation. The agency said it was self-defense. And then the videos came out from multiple angles, and then the protests started, and then thousands of people flooded the streets in Minneapolis, hurling snowballs like Canadian Molotov cocktails. And it didn't just stop there, folks. Then it happened in Boston. Then it happened in New York. Then it happened in Austin. Then it happened in Philly. It became a national moment. So if you missed all the protests and all the angry people, we were out there, we were angry, and we were loud. Here's the thing. When law enforcement kills someone, and the only accountability is that same law enforcement agency, it's not justice. Shooting people is essentially customer service. As we continue, we'll talk a little bit about the protests escalating. New York Post reports on Friday night, or by Friday night, Minneapolis police had reported almost 30 arrests, lots of property damage, and at least one officer injured. Now, I want to be clear. Property can be replaced, right? Windows can be fixed. Lives cannot. So anytime somebody says, well, what about the broken window at Target? I gently remind them, Renee Good is still dead. In a connected story, the Minneapolis mayor is accusing the feds of withholding information. So after all this wild turmoil took place, the Minneapolis mayor said that federal authorities were withholding information from the local investigation. That's wild, because if you're innocent, transparency would be your best friend, unless, of course, you're lying. Now, one thing I do want to call out, and I appreciate this very much, the city of Philly, the rowdy bunch that they are, they stepped up. Philadelphia Sheriff Rochelle Bilal, I hope I'm saying your last name right, she went public and she said, ICE agents are fake law enforcement, and if they violate local laws, she'll arrest them. She literally said, you don't want this smoke. Man, that is honestly the most American thing I've heard this whole week. Like, that felt like Texas justice coming from a Philadelphia sheriff. So anyway, when a local law enforcement says, if you're going to act like a gang, I'm going to treat you like a gang, I have no notes. I'll include a link to her commentary in the video description. If you have a chance, watch it. She's tough, man. She just lights it right up, and I love it. So let's pivot here from political violence to attempted island acquisition. Yes, Trump administration is now considering paying Greenlanders up to $100,000 per person, trying to convince them to support being part of the United States. And that's right. No diplomacy, no treaties, no consent. Basically a Venmo request for $100,000. This is not foreign policy. This is like a Facebook marketplace haggle. Also, apparently, we can afford to pay Greenlanders $100,000. But there's no money for teachers. It all makes sense in the fucking nonsense land of today's America. I'm not mad. Anyway, Greenland's government has responded with a very simple, beautiful, harmonious, peaceful message. We're not for fucking sale. Love that. Their parliament has called for an emergency session. Every major political party has rejected the proposal. Denmark is furious, and they should be, and that makes sense, right? Because nothing screams imperialism like asking a country, hey, how much for you to just, stop existing? Now, since we're talking about the Trump administration doing stupid shit, let's talk about food. The Trump administration suspended SNAP benefits to Minnesota. SNAP benefits, right, as in food assistance, as in people need this to eat. And the justification, alleged fraud tied to immigration enforcement. Likely story. So now, if you're poor, hungry, and living in the wrong state, congratulations, you're actually a political pawn. Superb. This is not governance, okay? This is like hostage taking. And I have to remind everyone that this is Minnesota, of all places. Minnesota, Canada's neighbor, some of the nicest, friendliest Americans around, right? Go watch the movie Fargo. Like, the police lady is like my representation in my mind of like everyone from Minnesota. Lovely, delightful people who just want the truth and justice. Okay, let's zoom out for a quick second here. All right, talked a little bit about U.S. news in a row. Federal agents kill a woman. Protesters are arrested. Local officials are blocked. States are punished. And foreign nations are offered bribes. It's not chaos. It is a strategy. Okay? Be clear. This is a strategy. And just in case you've forgotten, a friendly reminder of who's running Department of Home. Oh, my sweet Jesus. Oh, my God. Her outsides are starting to look like her insides, huh? And here's one of my own personal favorite strategies. I want to shout out to Robert Reich. I'm so sorry for your last name, but here's a quick reminder of which Fortune 500 companies have contracts with ICE. Amazon, AT&T, Booz Allen Hamilton. Booze. Wow, fascinating. Kachi. Is that Kachi? Chachi? I don't know. But these are the companies, all right? Basically, every company that delivers packages also has a contract with ICE. Super. Okay, let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about world news. I would love to say that it's any better than U.S. news, but it ain't. AP News reporting that Iran is experiencing massive protests. And when the protests got big enough, they went for old reliable. The government shut off the entire internet. Phones, messaging apps, social media, news access, gone. Because when authoritarian regimes feel threatened, of course they don't debate. They just unplug. And I can't help but notice some similarities between this situation and the Nepal Gen Z revolution. Nepal shut off social media and then shit promptly hit the fan. Keep your eye on this part of the world, folks, because it's about to go down. Continuing that story, Reuters reports Iranian authorities are violently suppressing the demonstrations across many major cities in the area. We're talking deaths, we're talking mass arrests, we're talking beatings. When a government cuts communication, it's not to restore order, it's to hide what they're doing. So naturally, Iranian filmmakers, artists, cultural figures have gone public, condemning the blackout, calling for international pressure. Because when the bullets fail, art actually becomes the evidence. Also, this is the complete opposite of pulling a Nicki Minaj. The protests continue anyway. Like to hear this. However hard they're trying to crack down, resistance is strong. The Guardian reports that despite the blackout, people are still organizing, which is remarkable. Turns out hope may not need Wi-Fi. Now, several outlets such as Reuters, Time, among others, many of these media outlets are reporting Greenland's leaders are rejecting U.S. claims. Good. Nordic diplomats pushing back. We like that. Analysts are now saying this is part of a larger Arctic power struggle, one of my favorite metal bands. Every major party in Greenland agrees. They don't want us, which makes a lot of sense because honestly, we're not really a 5-star Yelp destination right now. One last story in underreported news. Hacktivist Martha Root deletes white supremacy sites in Hamburg, dressed as the Pink Ranger. Oh my gosh, Amy Jo Johnson, eat your heart out. Actually, I'm just kidding. You don't need to eat your heart out, Amy Jo. Every one of my millennial peers still absolutely adores you, and this awesome hacktivist cosplay just reminds us of how amazing you've always been. Now might be the perfect time to rewatch the Power Rangers movie and relive the childhood horror of Ivan Ooze. Okay, let's bring it all together. Let's do a little bit of a rapid-fire wrap-up, as I'll call it. Iran shuts down digital infrastructure nationwide. Greenland accelerates emergency parliamentary sessions. The U.S. considers taxpayer-funded bribes for foreign populations. Protests spread across American cities. Go team. Artists become frontline journalists. Arctic geopolitics heats up. Whoa. Immigration enforcement sparks international tension. And democracy is looking fragile just about everywhere. Closing thoughts for you. Here's what connects all of this. Power hates witnesses. Whether it's a body cam, live stream, a journalist, a protester, authoritarian systems only work when no one is looking. So they blur, they block, they bribe, they black out, and then they call it order. It's not. It's fear, and the fear is loud right now. Finally, you can't distract us from the Epstein files, you pedophilic pieces of poop-laden poppycock. Get fucked. Thanks for watching. See you later this week.